Hi, and welcome to The Wounded Healer with Carrie Ann. I am your host, Carrie Ann, and I am here to say Happy Mother's Day. We are pre-recording this live event for Mother's Day, but by the time you see it, it'll be Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day. I hope you all enjoy your day. And I thought that this would be a great episode to talk about the mental health of our children and our young adults. So today we have on Irene Doreste of Soul Surgery, who is, when you find out a little bit more about her background, you'll see she's very well equipped to deal with the emotional and social intelligence of our children. She's running a program which I think is just dynamite. I think it fits not only with her background, but she's one of the most fun people I know. So she really makes her program, I believe, fun for kids and anyone who's attending. So I'm going to bring her on and we're going to talk to Irene about how she is helping our children with their mental health. Hi, Irene.
Hi, Carrie. How are you?
Good, good. Happy Mother's Day
Happy
in
Mother's
advance.
Day to you. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day on Sunday.
Yes, you too, you too. And so I wanted to have you on because you're doing something a little different. And I thought that Mother's Day would be a great way because no matter whether it's our day or not, right? We're always thinking about our kids. Where are they? What are they doing? How are they doing? How can we help them be better and attain the goals that they want to attain? So I think this is just a really great Mother's Day edition. So the name of your company, the name of your business is Soul Surgery.
Mhm.
And tell us a little bit about your background and what you're offering through Soul Surgery.
Perfect. Okay, so my name is Irene Doreste. I am a mother of four teenagers and young adults. And my journey started just, always being that mom, always being the hands-on mom, always, my happiness was based on their happiness. And I found out that you're really only as happy as your saddest child, right? So there was always something happening in their life. So, if it wasn't one kid, it was the other. And you were just always micromanaging, like, are you okay? And am I doing a good enough job? And what happens is you you base your, am I doing a good enough job? Am I being attentive enough? Am I helping out? And it gets overwhelming, right? So in 2017, I was having a recurring dream that I was drowning and that I didn't know who to save first. My four kids were on top of me and I kept going under. And I was like, who do I save first? How, it was going through middle school and high school years, right? When they were having so much drama and social media and school shootings and all these things that we've never experienced in our, young adulthood
Yes.
was, I was drowning, right? So I had this recurring dream and I said, wow, what can I do differently? What, am I messing up? How come they're not happy? And I discovered Reiki and integrated energy therapy. And I was trained and licensed, and not licensed, trained as a Reiki master and integrated energy therapist. And I fell into life coaching. And I was working with adults and moms that were struggling with, how to, how I was feeling, like that self doubt, am I doing a good enough job? And over the last year, we expanded it to kids and teens because right now, the sobering truth is our kids are like 2 million kids are being medicated on anti-anxiety meds and antidepressants. They deal with social media issues, like I said, school shootings and things. Their stress levels are beyond the roof. They're looking for therapists and help. So I developed Soul Surgery to have these kids groups come together so they have an outlet to talk about these issues, because there's nowhere in their life where they really can talk about it and share and just kind of know that they're not alone, that we all have the same fears, worries, and doubts. We just have a different story to tell. And it kind of eases their anxiety, that saying now they can look at their peers and say, wow, you have the same struggles I do. We just have a different, a different life and a different story. And it empowers them to, be able to thrive in life instead of survive, right? Because we all are surviving, and I want them to be thriving.
Okay, and so you told us about how you started. You started predominantly with the moms, right?
Mhm.
And then moved towards the children. So, what ages? I know you have different programs. So, what ages are you working with?
Uh, Okay, so the moms that I work with, or parents, doesn't matter, caregivers, whoever it was, is called the Clarity Catalyst, and it's an 8-week online Zoom group coaching. And
Wow.
now I've developed Insight for Life, and that's for kids and teens, young adults. So I start as early as 10. I find that that's when life is starting to get a hold of them, right? When
Yeah.
you're young and innocent and you're in those elementary ages, life is great, until those meaning and not so meaning people start projecting their beliefs onto them. So they're pretty
Mhm.
resilient at those younger ages. The middle school years are where life is starting to happen. So I noticed that that's the need. What the groups that I've been running are those sixth grade, fifth. I started with fifth grade, and they're really, doing very well. And
Wow.
they're so resilient and empowered. They leave class and they're like, yeah, we got this.
Ah,
And then, and I also do the teen groups. And so what happened was, why I went a little younger was, after I did the teens, it was 17 to 19. They all said to me at the end of the program, if they would have had these tools when they were in middle school, their life would have been completely different.
right.
They could have enjoyed their middle school years instead of being stressed out and worried what friend group they were in or what activities they were doing and what they were invited to, what they weren't invited to. So that was
Mm,
where their overwhelm and their pain points started, was that fear, that anxiety, am I fitting in? Where do I fit in my life? So I really fluctuate back and forth from 10 to 19. And then I kind of mix the young adults from 20 to 25 with both programs. You know what I mean? Because
okay.
they can kind of handle a little bit more uh,
Yes.
dialogue and more experiences, because now they're worried about their future and what their life purpose is and where they want to see themselves going. So they kind of struggle more with, is this my purpose and my dream, or is this what my parents or my caregivers recommend for me? What careers to go into, what colleges to apply to,
Right.
and that's their pain points. So yeah, elementary, middle school is different pain points than the older
Sure.
kids, but the program is layered to cover all of it.
Wow, I love that. And it's an 8-week program, you said, right?
Yes, so it's an 8-week program. I like to do sometimes the 9-week, which is just the first week is just like an introduction of who I am. The parents can come on with their kids, and we kind of let them know how the program is set up and what we each module that we cover each week. And so this way it kind of eases them to know what to expect. But sometimes if the calendar doesn't work out that way, we just start with 8 weeks.
Got you. Okay. And where do you work? Where do you work, and what kind of hours are like? How do you structure the program?
So I'm in Huntington,
Okay.
and I the kids' schedules are super busy. They have sports, school
Sure.
activities, homework to do. So Zoom is amazing. Zoom works out to be amazing because they're in their rooms, they shut their door. It's an hour and 15-minute session. They all pop on, and so I'm just running the calendar pretty much through the school year, so that when there's Easter break or the winter breaks, that we kind of set it up that way that it will flow, like there's not too many starts and stops. And then summer programs, depending on where they're going, kids are away or in camp. So I personally love after school or at night. Usually 7:30 we'll pop on. They're home, their
Okay.
activities are done, they had some dinner, and they just have that hour just to you know decompress.
That's great. And okay, so and the kids today are so tech savvy. I mean, they have no problem jumping onto a Zoom or any kind of media outlet to
Yeah,
to
no, they've
connect with you.
they've shown me new tricks
Yes.
I didn't even know were possible. So yeah, it's great.
I believe it. They could teach me a few things. Um, now, when parents are observing their children, right?
Yeah.
and which we all do. We see our children interacting, sometimes out on the playground with their friends, on their cell phones, on social media, at sports events. So as we're observing our children, maybe give me two words, that would describe something a parent would observe that could indicate a need for your services, that it would be a good idea maybe to enroll their child.
Sure. Well, two words is kind of hard for me.
Okay.
But I would say the biggest one is overwhelm.
Okay.
Overwhelm for them is just to observe like how their mood could change from one minute to another, whether they come in and they throw their book bags down, like, I had a crappy day, or they come in happy, but 2 seconds later they're upset. And it's because they just saw something on social media that triggered them,
Mm,
that their friends were somewhere and they're not. And then their voice of judgment starts going like, oh, you're not good enough, you're not popular enough, nobody likes you. And that's when their voice of judgment starts triggering from one minute to the next because something they see on social media. So if you see that those things, they're having a hard time, staying in the present moment and just kind of listening to their voices of judgment and listening to what that voice tells them about themselves is my key indicator for my kids when they come in, for the day. I notice, are they happy? If I ask them how's school, fine. What's going on? Nothing. That's most kids. Most kids never give us the answer. That's the
right.
general answer. But you can kind of see where their energy is at. And are they stressed out? Are they being snippy with you? Are they kind of just like, leave me alone? Like, I'm going to go do my thing. Those are, for me, key indicators that they have something on their mind and that they want to share. And a lot of my kids, they have anxiety. They've been seeing therapists, and which is amazing that they're getting the help that they need. But there's 2 million kids out there that are already on antidepressants, and these
Yes.
social and emotional intelligence tools will take their anxiety from a 10 to a 2. It will teach them how to balance and manage their emotions, right? So feel your emotions, right? We don't want to squash it down and get rid of them.
Right.
We want to notice them, but we get to stop, notice, and choose how we want to show up, how we're going to let those outside circumstances affect our lives, right? Are we going to stay in victimhood? Are we going to stay, this always happens to me? Or are we going to start to shift and change our perspective on that I get to choose how I want to respond? I'm going to respond to life and not react to life and always be in drama and meltdowns and that voice of judgment that's always saying like, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, they don't like you, and that's what we talk about.
And I noticed you saying like the voice of judgment, and I know you have a certain kind of vernacular within your program, the voice of judgment, the voice of wisdom. So tell us a little bit about that, about your wording.
Yeah, the kids love it. Um, so the first week we talk about just what mindfulness is, right? Everyone throws that word around like mindfulness, and that's just being the observer of your thoughts, right? Stepping back and being the observer of what that inner voice tells you, right? The
Mm,
one that's in the shower with you, brushing your teeth. When you're doing your day to day, who do you live with? You're with yourself 24 hours a day,
yeah,
365 days a year. Who's that talking to us, right? So we start to observe who that is without attachment and judgment, right? And we just start noticing the patterns of our voice of judgment. And in week 2, we meet them, right? I do an exercise with them, and their voice of judgment comes out screaming, and the kids love it. They're like, "Oh my God, there it is!" Right? And they die, and it's so fun to watch. So what we do is we name it, we draw them, we name it something other than ourselves, so we detach from that voice, right? So now we recognize that voice who's talking to us all the time
right.
throughout the day, and then we tap into our voice of wisdom, right? The voice of wisdom that we were born with, we've had since, from birth to 5. We live from that voice of wisdom. But as we get older and life starts happening to us, those little gremlins pop up. Now, my kids didn't know the Gremlin movie, so I don't know if you do. So that gremlin starts off cute and fuzzy, right? And then it gets wet and it turns evil. And then all of a sudden we have all these voices of judgment, and the
Yeah.
gremlins pop up. And that's, how I teach them. And they start noticing that voice has been taking over, right? It's been driving the wheel of their life. So now we're going to teach them throughout the course is, who are you going to let drive your car? Your voice of judgment or your voice of wisdom? The one that knows you, the one that's kind and compassionate and is not emotion, it doesn't have emotion, it's neutral. And then our voice of judgment's the one that's like, you suck, this is awful, you can't draw, you can't play sports, everybody's better than you. And we just start to quiet that voice, right? We start to learn to stop, notice, and say, I don't have to listen to that. And I can quiet that voice and start living from my voice of wisdom. And that's when we start making the shift. And as the weeks go on, I give them exercises and we journal, and I teach them meditation. And it's simple meditation. It's not sitting and just trying to meditate like some adults can meditate for 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. This is just coming back to the breath, coming back to learning to come back to the present moment where peace lives, right? So when I take them through this experiential exercise, and if you would like, I'd love to show it to you.
Yeah.
Is at any moment we can just come back to the breath and come back to the present moment and just rest and reset, right? And just let those, quiet those voices that, talk to us all day.
Yeah, and I would love an yeah, give us an example and a little experiential exercise of what it is that you're offering, because I think that would be
Yeah.
helpful for everyone, really.
Okay. So what I explain to them is that scientifically in our bodies, right, we have there's the sympathetic nervous system, right? That's our fight and flight, right? So our brains can't distinguish whether we're being chased by a bear or our negative thoughts, right? So we have those negative thought loops, but in our physical
Right.
bodies, we are stressed as if a bear was chasing us down the street. Right?
Mm,
Our brains cannot, I can't say the word.
differentiate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you
Yes.
go. Between the two. So that's, and that's scientifically proven. So what we do is this is called the five senses check-in, right? So what I'm going to
Okay.
do is it's an open and closed eye experience. So if you're at home and you want to try this, especially for Mother's
Yes.
Day, because I'm sure things are going crazy in your house and it's your day, and and we just want to come back to the present moment where peace lives,
Yeah.
right? So what I would just want to invite you all to do is just to take a few deep breaths, right? Just to sit back, just breathe in through your nose, sit up nice and tall, out through your mouth, and just let all that out. Take another deep breath in through your nose. And just start to relax and out through your mouth. One more time, just in through your nose. You can hold it and out through your mouth. And I just want you to open your eyes and just look around the room. Notice the textures, the colors, the light that's on the wall, the shades, carpet. Just notice where you are right now. And now I want you to close your eyes. And I want to invoke the sense of hearing. Hearing out of your left ear, the sounds that are coming from the room. And now the right. Noticing any sounds outside the room. And now I want you to invoke the sense of touch. Feeling the air on your face, the temperature of the room, maybe how the clothes feel on your body, the socks on your feet. Now we're going to invoke the sense of smell. What smells are coming from the room? Any candles? Any food cooking in the next room? What smells can you smell? And now I want you to invoke the sense of taste. Sending your tongue across your teeth and swallow. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Carrie's back.
I know. That was great.
Okay, so that's the five senses check-in. Now, what I asked you, I'll ask you is during that exercise, were you worrying about the future or regretting the past?
No, no.
No.
I was in that moment following your direction. Yep. And
Right.
noticing my body, because when you got to like the touch, I was thinking, oh, my feet are like a little tense, like I'm a little crunched up right now. You know what I mean? And noticing that and kind of just making the adjustment then. Yeah.
Right. So it's physically impossible to be worrying about the future or regretting the past when you are in the present moment. And when you're turning on your senses, you're turning off the fight or flight, right? You're turning off the anxiety, the fear, the worry, the doubt, where your voice of judgment loves to live, right? Your mind can only be in two places, either worrying about the future or regretting the past. But when you're in the present moment and you're dropping into your physical senses, you're right here, right now, everything is
Right.
okay. Right. So when life happens and you're up here in your head, this coming back to the present moment and doing the five senses check-in brings you back to where peace lives. That everything right here, right now is okay. Right. In the outside world, everything can be a stress mess. But right now, right here, we're here in the present moment. We're together. Right. And it gives them the empowerment to realize that I can come back here at any day, at any time, at any moment. And what that does is that turns on our parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and reset. So when you're living all day long, in fight or flight, your brain just comes back down to the present moment just by doing that simple exercise. Your body has now physically rested and reset, and you can look at things from a new perspective.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does bring you, there's no that swirling around that happens when you're getting anxious or, starting to get yourself, worked up about something, is just out, when you start that exercise because it just, I guess they would call it grounding, like it's just a very grounding exercise that brings you into your body like in that moment. Yeah.
Right,
The
right.
excellent.
Yeah, and that's what we do. And then their assignment for that week is to go on a color walk. And they can do it with
Oh,
their friends, they can do it with their family. Well, they should do it alone, but they could do it down the hallway in school. Instead of being in their mind, they could just go right on a color walk and they choose a color and they just look for anything with that color. So while they're walking down the hallways and while they're doing, just going out in nature and identify with the color and they start picking the colors and and they can't be in their mental minds, right? They step out of their, fears, worries, and doubts and worrying about the future and regretting the past. What I said to this one in the hallway and, I'll never make this team. It just brings them right into the present moment.
I mean, I love that as an exercise too, that you give like a little bit of homework, but it doesn't sound cumbersome at all,
Yeah, it's soul
and
work.
it's gonna work for
Yeah,
them.
we call it soul work. In the adult program, we do accountability partners. So
Okay.
you link up. I'll set you up with a partner, and then you kind of have one exercise. It's a 20-minute phone call during the week at any time. And then but the kids are so busy, so we just do their soul work, and they each week they journal and meditate. I teach them how to meditate and journal, and then they get their live with for the week. They get a live with of no expectations, no judgments. Where do I put my expectations on myself or others? It's just becoming aware of
Wow.
their mental, how they've been showing up in the world, right? We
Yes.
look in the mirror the first couple of weeks and we're like, how have I been showing up in the world? Let's take accountability of, do I put expectations on myself, unrealistic expectations, or do I have unrealistic expectations of others? And then once we take the accountability and we learn the live withs of each week, be here now, then we start shifting into cultivating their creativity. And um, everyone has unique gifts and talents, right? But we all
Sure.
don't have the same things. So we judge ourselves by saying, you know what, Carrie's an amazing woman, she's a podcaster, she's successful, she does this, she does that. And then we judge ourselves, right? But what are
Mhm.
my unique gifts and talents? How can I cultivate my own creativity and find my life's purpose, and not just always follow the crowd, or
Right.
take our parents or our teachers saying, oh, you'd be good at this. What do I want? What do I, let's empower myself and say, this is what lights
Right.
me up. And then we find things that that light them up specifically. And then we get to share those gifts and talents with the group.
So, I mean, you're kind of touching on that, but after your 8-week course, right? What would you say are some of the most common things that indicate to you that you've broken through to a child who was either particularly anxious or overwhelmed or depressed? How do you know that they've turned the corner and have are kind of embracing this?
Um, it's funny because at the end of the group, I always say, what's your biggest takeaway? What was your biggest takeaway from today? What was something that you had a new perspective on? And each kid is individually different. So they're
Right.
like, I loved meeting my future self. I loved be here now. I love no expectations. And like each live with, each one takes away something different. But the feedback that I have been getting is from the parents,
Okay.
and they would call me and say, my kid's like a different kid. I haven't seen her this happy in a long time. I haven't seen her this motivated in a long time. More,
Oh,
right? And my teen classes, they're all applying to colleges right now. And we kind of took down that anxiety of, I'll never get into this college, and I don't know what I want to be. And now they're just applying, they're throwing it out there,
yeah.
a little bit like, so what now, what, right? This is one of our live with is like, okay, stuff happens, you didn't get in, is that going to define you? No. You know what I mean? It's just, maybe it's not meant for you, and we just change the perception, the perspective of their voice of judgment and what their voice of judgment says. Now we've quieted it, so now that's empowering them to go out there and take chances, and to cultivate their own creativity, and what lights them up. Doesn't matter what lights you up or me up or what our parents want us to do. It's what's lighting them up inside, and they feel that empowerment, and they're not so small, and it decreases their anxiety and empowers them to live their best life.
So they're coming out with a lot, it sounds like a lot more confidence and understanding themselves a little bit more.
Right. And to know that they always know. So I'm giving away all my tools, but so we do,
Oh,
no, it's totally fine. I can't help it. We do a session on yak, you always know, right? And we drop into our intuition. And 1 week for the week, it's either a yes or a no. I'm not going to ask 15 different people their opinion. I know. Right.
yeah.
And then when I take them through an exercise, I'm like, oh my God, I do know, right? Then trust your intuition, but we don't
Mm.
trust it. We don't know. So these are all not coping skills. These are all tools that when life happens, now they're going to have this toolbox that they're going to collect each week, and they're going to have for the rest of their life to be able to call on these tools when they need them. So they don't need them every single day, and they may not
Mhm.
be, but they can now know they can tap into this, or if they need clarity, they can journal about it. If they need more information, they know they can trust their intuition. They don't have to
I
look for
mean,
the guidance outside.
yeah, I mean, it sounds like, what you're describing really are the building blocks for mental health,
Yes.
throughout your life, throughout a lifetime, really. And it's not a course that you can take in school normally, no one's teaching these things. And I think you're getting children and young adults at the ages where, where they're able to it sounds like they're able to understand, right, that there's what they're seeing or what they're feeling, and start to implement, changes, or embrace ways of going into the world differently, or more consciously, I guess I should say.
Right.
And I think that's great and different. That's one of the things I really loved, when you described your program, to me, because I haven't heard of a lot of other people offering in these age groups that type of help. So, give us a little bit of your background, though. I mean, you have a nursing degree also, right? You have a degree in
I
nursing?
do, yeah. I was a nurse for many years at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center,
Okay.
neuroorthopedics.
Okay.
I started as a counselor there before I went back to nursing school. I have a degree in psych and social work. And
Okay.
when I first graduated, I was a counselor for people that were newly diagnosed with cancer. So you had just gotten your diagnosis, you would come to me, and I would set you up on the OR schedule, and kind of give you a game plan of how, the appointments were going to be, and, where to go from there. I did that for about 5 years. And then I went back to be become a registered nurse. And I stayed at Sloan Kettering, and was neuroorthopedics. And I loved it. I loved being a nurse, but the 12-hour shifts, and then getting married and having 4 kids of my own, and life,
Sure.
takes on. And so I stepped away from it. And but being of service and helping others was always my thing, whether it was
Sure.
medically or whether it's emotionally and mentally. It was always my thing. It was always something that lit me up. But it wasn't until that I felt I was drowning myself, right? I felt that my kids were going under, and I wasn't doing a good enough job, right? And I was failing somehow. And then when I started, meeting all the people at the center, the Long Island Healing Arts
Yeah.
Center.
Yes.
Or
Yeah.
Terry, little plug, I love you. And they changed my life,
Yeah.
meeting Dawn and meeting yourself and meeting all these amazing people in the world of holistic health. It doesn't, as a medical professional, drugs and, medication are sometimes needed, right? But when
Yeah.
we know that we can have a balance, that we can decide and choose, like, can I handle this myself right now? Is my anxiety manageable? Or am
Right.
I going to put a band-aid on and just give my kids meds? Here, I can't deal. I don't know what to do for you. And then now our kids are just over medicated.
Yeah.
I can't take a
I
test.
feel
I think I have ADD. Give them Adderall, give them this, give them that. And like I said, is well needed in some populations. But if we can do these programs for all these kids, and they know that they can self-regulate their emotions and their feelings, and then it doesn't work, then medication should be, a route. But they don't have these tools. They don't
right.
even know they exist, these tools. So if we can get these tools out there to the general population and parents themselves, we won't need to be surviving life. We could be thriving in life, right? And we can sit back as parents and say, okay, my kids got this. They have these, tools now to be able to self-regulate. And that's, why I'm passionate about it.
Agreed. I mean, there is a lot of talk about, about children on medication. There's always been, kind of sides when it came to that. And of course, there are times where a child does need medication.
Absolutely.
But how do we come to that decision, right? Is the most important thing. And so, for children as young as 10 to have, some of these tools, 10, 12, 14, the ages really, where they're starting to get diagnosed with other, it coincides really with the time span where children a lot of times are running into diagnosis. And so
Right. Because
I
life is
would,
happening to them, right? Life
yes,
is happening to them, but they don't have the tools to self-regulate, right?
yeah.
So it just goes straight to anxiety, fear, worry, and doubt, right? And our voice of judgment is like, here I am, I'm on the scene, and I'm driving the car until it crashes into a bush, right? And then now we don't know what to do for our kids.
And I really love it that this is an alternative, to to bring some peace, into the lives of children, but also even children who are on medication, to give them these tools while they're taking their medication,
Right. And then maybe eventually can titrate it down, right? So they
Yes,
can be on their medications and then maybe incorporate some of the tools. And as it starts working, and I also explain to the kids, it takes 21 days to create a habit. So we're just not going to overnight be like, oh, no expectations, I got this. It takes 21 days,
right.
right? So when we start, doing something for 21 days, it becomes a habit. So we're going to undo the habits that we've been, putting on ourselves, and we're going to start making it journaling and meditation and just, mindfulness, right? But coming back to the present moment while these, with these live withs each week, then they can, step out into the world with new eyes, right? New eyes, living from your heart, and not taking everything so personally.
Wow. Yeah, no, I really love it. I think this is a great alternative, like I said. And for our viewers, when we talk about the center, that's the Long Island Healing Arts and Learning Center. I'll give them a plug all day long, Um, you can go there to take intuitive classes, all different types of classes. I know they teach A Course in Miracles. Um, there's many different classes there. They sell jewelry, crystals, all kinds of gifts for other people, angelic gifts. A really beautiful place. So that's a great place to start. I think getting into things more holistic. They sell oils, essential oils, which a lot of people use just to bring themselves down. And so Long Island Healing Arts, and also Irene at so it's going down the across our stage right now, the Soul Surgery Life Coaching.com. Now, soul surgery, did you get that from nursing? Because I thought that was such a great name.
Yeah, I just so I don't know where well, it's always the teaching and a lot of holistic teachings and things that you see on TikTok and everywhere else. But what it is like we have a mind, we have a body, but what
Yeah.
we all are is a soul, right? We're
Yes.
all a soul living a human experience, right? So we don't need to be fixed, healed, changed, or improved. We're here perfectly as we are, right? We came here for a reason and our lessons to learn and our life purpose. So soul surgery is kind of like the nursing part of me and,
Yes.
the soul kind of merged together. That we don't need to fix our souls. Our souls are perfect and complete as they are, but we're fixing our human, our human side. So I just kind of just caught with me, and I said,
Yeah. I
yeah,
thought it was a catchy name, and then when I learned a little bit more about your background, I thought, oh, it makes sense. So for those of you who can't see it, if you're listening to the podcast, and you're not viewing us, it's www.soulsurgerylifecoaching.com. That's where you can get in touch with Irene about her services. I wish everyone a happy Mother's Day. I thank you so much for coming on, Irene. It's always a pleasure to speak with you, and I really love what you're doing with these kids.
thank you so much. Yes, I do. I greatly appreciate you, you taking the time to be with me. I want to wish everyone a happy Mother's Day. I do have a free gift on my website for all you moms. So if you just want to go on and click on, there's some amazing journal prompts to get you started, what you need clarity on, what you need to let go of. And if you'd like to just, book a clarity call with me to see if your kids or moms are fit that want to work over the summer, I'm always here.
I love it. Thank you so much, Irene.
Thank you, Carrie, and I wish you
You're
a happy Mother's Day.
happy Mother's Day to you too.
Okay, talk
Bye.
soon.